Salam everyone. Salam alaikum. Veda Makem. It's great to be back. And we have a definitely an illuminating presentation for everyone today, this evening. The call for unity. Upcoming on March 24th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Moorish and Pure Restoration Caucus will be hosting a meet and greet. We'll be hosting a meet and greet on the 24th of this month at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so we'll be discussing principles as we for the call for unity. I thank everyone for tuning in this evening, and I'll turn over to Shem Malachi Bey as we discuss the existing sovereignty of Morocco.
Thank you, Professor Abdul. Peace, greetings, salam alaikum to the nobles and lords, ministers, also of the household of the lords that's here and nobles that's here physically with us, sitting at the House of Reawakening Mind. I'm proud to be here after being ill for some time. Um, I thank Professor Abdul for and Tamara, Noble Tamara, for keeping the torch burning here, um, so that we can get this information and educate you properly on the right concepts of Moore's consequentity, our right to self-govern ourselves, um, not individually, but coming together as a house, a community, clan, group, tribe, and society to form to do to form political and civil structure. So I'm going to talk about what we need to do and to keep on doing to gain back our more sovereignty, which has been abandoned and lost. And now we at a time and age and dispensation where as though the cosmos and the celestial realm, the powers that be the hierarchy, have ordained for certain men and women to be ordained from their mother womb to guide us as the lighthouse to guide us back to our states, I mean our homelands, consciously. See, we have lost, we have not been inherit the consciousness of inheritance. See, you can have all the land, live in all the wealth you want, but if you're not conscious of who it belongs to and who has a right to inherit it and who had a right to give it, this is what we have to get back to. Now, I'm going to talk about the the United Res Republic of Morocco, and I'm going to talk about the society that was formed by a host of men and women, nobles and lords, have come together, not selfishly, and have been given and locked the education system, science, to create a system of structures to get us back to claim the existing sovereignty under Morocco authority. We have to claim that. That's the ties back to the land. So what me and Professor Abdul have done, thank Professor Abdul because, um, you know, I've been around a lot of etymology and so-called philosophers. They call themselves so-called philosophers and opinion makers in school. And what I found out to be very intriguing is that a lot of the Moors, teachers, more like through their own school of thought, their own opinion and their own decision, they kind of bind the people into a judgment of wrong concepts. People make judgments based on your school of thought and your opinion. They decide based. See, you have to understand when a person is considered with an infant and an immature mind on knowing who they are, they have amnesia, mental amnesia, to psychological coercion, social engineer. When one like them come along with a school of thought and opinion, the Moors make a decision on that. Then they reach a final decision, destination, thought in mind. What they're going to do, what they're going to be, and what they belong to. And after putting all this on the scale, it's like this. It's unbalanced. The scale is not balanced. This is what we're dealing with, unbalanced scale. We don't have a balanced scale here. And what I'm talking about is we don't have the pointer, so. What I'm talking about is the existing sovereignty of Morocco. You have what you call existing sovereignty of Morocco. Now, Tamara went to Philadelphia, and she see the flag flying. Now, if you go into Washington, D.C., you go into the Organization of American States, you go into the Netherlands, you go into France. When you go to any building that have a diplomatic tower of Morocco, I guarantee you, you're going to see the flag, the existing sovereignty of Morocco, that flag. You won't see the Kingdom of Morocco flag because they can't fly that flag because that's not the people, the descendants at the time when they signed the treaties with the Moors Consanguinity there. It's called the landlords. They're the landlords. They signed a treaty with the landlords. Under what flag? Not that flag, so that can't fly. So that's why you see the flag fly was for the existing sovereignty of Morocco, like Professor Abdullah say. What is the do but one thing? Claim and come under the sovereignty that already exists. I heard him last night when he talked about the Act of Algiers. But you notice in the Act of Algiers, it said if this convention falls apart, I believe Tamara's Article 123, right? It said go back to what? The existing treaties that's already written. So as we see now, treaties are the law to run the world, not the land, the world. All the earth, treaty runs the earth. Now, in the existing sovereignty of Morocco, we're dealing with Moorish consanguinity education. Let me explain what that means. Everybody keep talking about Spain. I noticed the brother said last night on the phone, and Abdullah said Phoenician. See, he said Spain, but Abdullah went further before Spain is sitting in the Phoenician land. So now let's talk about when we say the Moorish consanguinity. What are we talking about? Talking about every melanated carbon man and woman that was over the whole planet. We're not talking about Albions yet because they wasn't here. So we're talking about every carbonated man and woman that, come in, son. Moorish consanguinity ain't just one nation. Once again, every man and woman that got melanin and carbon is a Moor and it falls under this right here. Moorish consanguinity, meaning that anywhere their ancestors claim a domicile territory as ownership as the landlord, they have a right to the inheritance of the land, the estate, the property, and the water and the air. They have a right to it. Why? Because the mother. Now, let me go into this. The earth is feminine. So your mother is feminine. So everything comes through the earth, everything comes to the woman. So this is why you say your mother. That's why they say you got to have your ties. They don't say to the fatherland. They say motherland. Even the scriptures say that. The Bible said that. It said motherland. That's nothing personal. It's nothing to hate a woman for. It's just the way that it's set up. It's set up for everything you eat comes from the earth. That's the feminine. The sun is the masculine. Now they come for everything that's given in this world. A rule and reign comes from a woman. That's just how it is. I came from my mother. Shem, Malachi, Bay. Now watch this. I want all the men to hear this. The seed don't, listen to me, seed that grow the food comes out of the earth. The same seed that grows the food come out of the earth. So in order to get seed, you got to go to the earth. So that's why the woman and the feminine is very important. Now, Moore's consanguinity, so y'all will know, be educated. Now, if I ask a man, I say, excuse me, who is a Moor? Watch this. Oh, they the people that lived in North Africa, lived in the Americas, right? Oh, what's they say? Oh, and yeah, they traveled to Spain and they traveled to North Africa. No, you got it wrong. A Moor is what? Every man and woman on the earth in the four corners that got melon and carbon, you're a Moor. You're a Moor. Why I say every man and woman that got melon and carbon? Because first of all, when you come from a woman and the woman and man come from the earth, that's a nationality. So that's why Professor Abdullah says only one culture. And be honestly, it's supposed to be one deity. What happened? Language, sound. The moment the sound, the tongue, the sound change, and the symbol change of the sound and the thinking, the speak, change that made us diverse among each other. So, in order to get the confusion, because nobody talks about this, what is the Moor's consanguinity? What is a Moor? A Moor is the man and woman over the whole earth that got carbon and melon. Allodian title rights to land, estate, and property ownership. Now, Professor Abdul pinpoint this just right. He asked me, said, Shem, we got to put it, and that's what I thank Noble Tamara for, because one of the things that we have not been doing when we first start off is putting it in bullet point form and putting it in some kind of format where people could see it on the elementary level, and she's gifted with that. So that's very important. Why, when I met Abdul, the third person I met to bring this into play, because he said she'll comprehend this right away, and she sure did. She didn't fight it. She didn't argue. It might have some bumps and bruises because that's personal. Everybody got a right to a personal opinion, but at the end, make sure your opinion line up with a proper concept. So, okay, out of Moore's consanguinity, we're going to educate. Education is the reason why anybody with carbon and melon that's have a right to claim their mother and father over the whole earth is because of the simple fact they're first in time, first in law. They're first in law, first in time. Which would mean the first inhabitants of the land, air, and water. The first inhabitants breathe the air, the first inhabitants that walk on the land, and the first inhabitants that fished in the water. So they were carbon and melanated people of the earth. So in that claim, in that being that, once we got diverse through different ethics through the sound of language, tongues, and language, everybody had a right wherever their ancestors went at and claim ownership as a society or tribes and clans, houses, claim that land. They had a right they became what you call the allodian title right. Allodian title right owners to the land. Why? Because of this. Because they had in them the original gene. And what reflects the original gene? The evidence. Always go to the evidence to prove anything. Melon and carbon. And like Abdul said, why would you go and get a DNA test when in fact everybody in the world have melon and carbon? If I got the melon, I got the carbon, the shoe fit. The only thing is, I don't need you telling me what part of the world that the people that had carbon melon was from. That's my right, my house right to do that, to preserve what? The allodian title rights to the land, estates, and property ownership. The moment someone tell you who you are, tell you who your ancestors are, where they dwelt on the earth, who are you to tell me when your ancestors domicile in a different portion or part of the world, for my ancestors to bring your ancestors over here and give them amnesty and asylum to occupy a municipality government and be laws among themselves. Who are you to come by 100 years old, 2 years later, 20 years later, and tell me who I am, where I'm from, and I suggest you do this? You just stole away my Moroccos Sovereignty, right? To allot the entitled to rights to the land, estate, property ownership. So you have to understand what's going on. This is a state, he's right, this is birthright theft. That's all it is. There's nobody going to tell you that, because the people have been so indoctrinated and social, psychological, coerced, and social engineered that they have not comprehended. They're still in a fetus state. Let me say something. I don't care how many houses you own. I told a brother back there today, what is it? Who cares if you a billionaire? A billionaire doesn't buy you more consequently. Or more don't buy you a lonely entitled. When you make the $1 billion, your body is not claimed. Your mother has not claimed a nationality. All the resources, all the intellectual property you're thinking, from the bottom of the soles of your feet to the top of your head, you are in servitude. They can take it away from you anytime they feel like it. They proved that in Black Wall Street. They proved that down in North Carolina when they ran a governor and mayor out and took the industry away. Listen, there's other places they did in New Orleans. It's showing you. Absolutely. Look what happened to the Lenape, Moors. These people got walked out their land from going to Florida up here, walked all the way across the continent. These people had wealth, everything. What do you think happened to them when they forgot about this? When they did business and forgot about their Moroccos Sovereignty. I'm going to tell you something. This got to be guarded. In order to hold a lawfully entitled rights to land, estate, and property ownership, watch this. I want you to hear this. Rights to contract freely among ourselves and foreign nations. Now, let me explain what I mean. When you allow someone to come in and tell you how to contract among yourself, what you just did. The moment you let someone come in and write the contract to instruct you how to live among yourself in your own land, what you just did, you just surrendered your sovereignty, your birthright theft. Now, you can't even regulate commerce with a foreign nation. The foreign nation have to regulate commerce with a foreign nation because you fell. That's bad. That's what's going on here, right here. Right here in Mexico, right here in Morocco. This is what's going on now. Next thing is set up. Once you write to freely contract among ourselves, this is what, let me explain what we're doing. Which is called a Computational Caucus, which is an ecclesiastic society that we put form together. I don't care what nobody say. Professor Abdullah asked a question last night, and I listened. I was going to hit the thing and say, thank you. You well said that. I said, I'm going to be quiet. He asked a question. He said, show me in the last 200 years, any man or woman walking the earth, anybody said that's doing what we're doing now. At times say, like you can, everything dropped. You couldn't hear nothing. Why did nobody interject and say, this man did it, this woman did it, they'd have been lying, because Abdullah would have actually proved it, and they would have been there to prove it. So it's best, it's an old saying. They say it's better to be thought of as a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Some people, they so jealous that they your enemy. But what they do is they talk and they reveal who they really are. They'll sit down and say, Salam alaikum, peace, and all this stuff. And then when they start talking, they're expressing, Hakeem, I can speak to you every day. Right? And call you a dirty damn old nut ass Hakeem. Listen to me. I'm gonna show you something. Actions. Now, listen to me. But Hakeem coming to me and say, Shem, my car gone, man. I gotta go to work. I ain't trying to lose my mortgage and stuff. I make a good job. and I go to the place and buy Hakeem of 300 something hundred. They call it 2007. Now, what I'm doing is you just know I'm a fool running my mouth, but deep down inside, I really care about you because of my actions. But however, you got some people that do things nice for you, but when it come down to showing the deeds and stuff, they'll say everything, but when it come down to doing something, they won't do it. In other words, they'll say this and don't have the knowledge of really what they're saying, what they're doing, because the foundation that they're coming from is shady. So you can't challenge the foundation that we do. You know why? Because to be honest, if you go back and see what we're doing, that's what they did back then. Societies, tribes, and houses and clans came together and formed government. That's what we're doing. Listen, when I met Professor Abdul, I said, Abdullah, we start talking. I said, Abdullah, you know what? I'm glad I met you, man. I said, back in 2013, I sent some up to the United Nations. And the Secretary General, they processed it and came back and sent me a letter with my package, stamp. I let him see the letter. He'll tell you, vows, I'm not lying to you. They say, we acknowledgement of receipt of what you filed. He said, but however, we cannot place it into the International Depository. Now, you know what that is, right? All the other nations come at, as a nation with their constitution and their flag. Until you comply with. They say I have to comply. I missed complying with this. I went and looked it up. Now, I couldn't find it. They got this thing here so bad, you have to really dig and read. The Spirit led me there. I was so frustrated. One day I was, let me go and look at this right here, man. They high articles of the organization, and start looking. And let me do this. I said, oh, there you go. I said, look at this here. There you go. That's it. They say he did right. That's why I had to come from the Department of the United Nations, Department of International Affairs of the United Nations. So once I realized what had to be done, I told my seer. He said, the Spirit going to send you. He said, heaven's going to send you someone that you're going to need. He said, the other people are no good to you. He said, somebody going to come that's going to show you, going to help you out, and you want to get right where you want to get at, and you better recognize when they come. Some months later, look who come walking down the street. Him and I talked. I told him, talked a while. He brought Tamara. That was it. He said, "That's it." He said, "Nobody ever talked like they know about that." So at first, I was timid because see, this is new waters to me. And when you're not used to being in front of crowds, but you just be in the back drafting and doing stuff and mailing it and going in myself, but doing stuff, you're not used to being in front of the people in the media. So Professor Abdul said, let me show you how to do this. Shem, he asked me a question. He said, how are you going to get to all these Moors? You going to travel around the world and get to them? He said, you're not going to work. And when he did that, I followed his lead. Look where we at now. He said, I've been doing this for almost 30 years. That's what he told me. He said, the Moors they haven't even grasped the straw, what you're talking about right now. He said, that's the conscious Moors. He recognized that we need to have political structure, that no one government of a people can claim existence sovereignty under that flag. And that's what a lot of Moors are going wrong out there. Is what they're trying to say is they're trying to say that they're the central government. And you have to come under us to be recognized. That's a fraud. I'm against that. I'm totally against it. I don't care if you don't like me. You tell them, we're telling Moors that y'all all can come together and sign a treaty and create one central government and claim the sovereignty of that flag and all be equal with each other. And the people holds the power now of the sultans. The power of the sultans is in the elective self-determined autonomy of the people, where it needs to be at. Now, that's what we're doing. Set up political civil structures for commerce, industry, protection, and diplomatic relations. This is what you get out of claiming the existence of sovereignty of Morocco. You get the chance to set up your own political, Moors provincial government. In that government is political, civil, commerce, industry, protection, and diplomatic relations. Now, you can have diplomatic relations domestically among the Moorish nations. But when it comes to a foreign sovereign power, whether on the continent, power on this continent, or whether on the other side of the world or down in wherever, that power is to the national government. Why? Because if you have one Moorish government that decide to say, well, we can do that ourselves, you just violate the existing sovereignty of Morocco. Because Morocco is not just one nation, it's an empire. It's a host of nations, and it also is an empire. How are you going to claim to have a sheik to regulate commerce and force treaties? So that means every Moorish government in Morocco will do their own contract and stuff with foreign nations. I'm going to tell you what, you're going to have a war, conflict. Because all these Moorish governments cannot hold diplomatic relationships with the foreign power. Not set up that way. What I mean is that in the Iroquois Constitution, couldn't no one nation under that confederacy do commerce with anybody unless the whole confederacy agreed. That's why they created it, to give it strength. Because they know when that happens, that's how nations come in and conquer and take someone's land and the enemy right on your borders now. You don't even know it. That's what happened to Lenape. See, people don't understand when the Moors when they first started coming in here, European powers, they really write the treaties for the Lenape Moors, they dropped their guard. Because the Lenape Moors are the first to start giving land to the French, the Spaniards, and the Dutchies and all that. Because they was more spiritual. Meaning that they had friendship. They was nice, kind-hearted. This is why the Lancaster Treaty started when the Iroquois came down and told them that they violate the Confederacy, which they are the grandfather tribe nation in that Confederacy. And what hurted the Lenape was when the Iroquois went against them and slaughtered them, and then repented later on, sorry what they did to their brothers and sisters, because they said that we weakened them. We weakened their borders. We allowed his land to be taken, and they sat back and watched them be marched out of the land. They did nothing about it. So as you can see, the Moors are really a downfall to a lot of their woes. Lincoln, the Moors, Negroes, create the Republican Party, seized the House of Representatives, seized the Senate, and they had a Moorish president elected. Now, Moors, please wake up. Do you think Albions, if they wasn't under the influence and control of the Moors, they would have gotten to the White House and held seats to pass laws and make laws and then approve them? Do you think Lincoln would have had the power to sign a treaty with the Ottoman Empire halfway in the land of Phoenician? Come on, wake up, Moors. Open your eyes up. Do you think the South will walk out of a Congress unless something really offended them? They come up, oh, they was doing this to them. Oh, they was doing it to them. No, they wasn't. The Republican Congress that signed the Constitution looked up and seen people like him, you, Abdullah, me, and Tamara in the House of Representatives and the Congress and see a president running their house. And they go back in a meeting and realize that that's against the charter. That's against the structure. It is. That's against the structure because neither one of them was a part, and he made it clear. If you consider Negro Moors descent, you could hold that seat. But we was allowed to sit in Congress. But on the other hand, it is a treaty. But remember, that treaty is binding on the Articles of Confederacy as well as any United States that they make. So even today, based on that treaty, a Moorish deputy can sit in Congress beside the president and steer the president in international law concerning the Moors. The Delaware Treaty, the Delaware Moors Treaty of 1778. Read it. Go back and read it. United States Constitution said all debts and contracts entered into before the ratifying this Constitution shall be a valid against the United States as what? The Confederacy. So that means that the treaty was not only binding against the Confederacy, it's binding on the new United States. So now here we go. Here go another United States that's incorporating de facto under that charter. They bind by the same thing. You bind all the way through. You got to go. See, in order to find that was going on with the first, you got to find a chain of command. Where you get your authority from? Oh, there you go. United States sovereignty is based on the Lenape Treaty. I want you to say it again. The United States sovereignty, in order to create a corporation called the Articles of Incorporation on a sovereign land, a sovereign must first grant you that right. Lenape Moors. Abdullah went over it. He explained it. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Abdullah, you one of the best I know to stay calm under fire, answer a question, and get right to the point. He don't let you get him into a drag-out argument. He don't let you talk and lead him until he's a very good listener. Then he said, no, I heard what you said. Let me answer that first before we even go any further. So Abdullah is the person you call a great debater, a beatdown. Not being nasty, I'm going to use that because sometimes when you reason with somebody and you're having a reason, an argument, sometimes you have to turn it into a beatdown as a discipline to open the conscience up of the parties. But when you're doing it, you're supposed to do it with grace. And Abdullah is one good to doing that with grace. He could do it nasty and be nasty about it, but he do it in a way so professional, whereas though he leave you with some integrity to think, to go back and reason among yourself. So next we got to hand down inheritance to future descendants, kinsmanship as heir. Oh, this is very important. This is why claiming your Moors consanguinity, which give you the lowly and title rights to the land, estate, and property ownership, rights to contract freely. See, the right to contract freely sets you up with this to hand this down. Because remember, contracts are your bond. You see, your word is your bond. You're bound by your word. Let me go, Professor, take over a minute.
Yes, this is giving us, last night I was on show, Brother Yusico's show, for 3 hours. It was Zoom. I've known the brother for about 9-10 years. I've been on the show several times. And we're talking about the principles of government. And Shem alluded to these principles regarding self-appointment. Now, we have never seen that in any schools we've gone to, in any jobs we worked at, Masonic orders, Eastern Star orders, doors of ISIS. You have fraternity orders, sorority orders. We've never seen self-appointment. So where this comes from, this Moorish movement, this self-appointment, where's that about? That's not political legitimacy. The principal of a school doesn't appoint him or herself. The superintendent of a school district doesn't appoint him or herself. The Board of Education, members of the Board of Education do not appoint themselves. So we've, all our lives, and all we know is elections and appointments by someone who's been delegated authority to appoint, but self-appointments, we don't know that. Like, we don't know self-appointments. So why are these Moors doing self-appointments when we don't know that? We've never experienced that. So we do have knowledge of some principles of government. We do have that. I would challenge any nationalized and conscious Moor. Any. Even a 5-year-old I would challenge. 5-year-olds have some knowledge of principles. 5-year-olds. Man, what are you talking about, Abdullah? 5-year-olds don't know nothing. That's not true. A principal, when go to any school in our land, go to the kindergarten class. The principal walks in. The kindergarten knows who the principal is. The kindergartner knows that the principal has more authority than the teacher. They all do. I'm just trying to break this down plain. Trying to break it down plain. Kindergartners know that the principal has more authority than the teacher. So the principal, let's look at this. The janitor walks into a classroom, and the janitor tells, let's say janitor walks into the classroom, 5th grade a kindergartner classroom, and the janitor starts telling the teacher, on how to instruct the students. These are 5-year-olds now. The 5-year-olds all over our land, whether Asiatic or Abian, are cognizant enough. Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so, he's not the, or she's not the teacher. She's not the teacher. You're the janitor. What is that? I'm explaining that we do have it, knowledge. That's a fundamental. Start from there. That's a fundamental knowledge of government. We do have it. 5-year-olds. It's not. Let's kiss this. Let's kiss it. Let's not start with the Black's Law Dictionary. Let's not start with law books. I think that we've gone wrong. I think we've gone wrong with that. And we've gone wrong in starting with Black's Law Dictionary and law books and contract law books. I think we've gone wrong with that. Just look at what we've been all our lives. All our lives. That's delegation of authority. the principal has been delegated authority and certain duties. The teacher that's dealing with ranking. FIOs are cognizant of that. Just make it, just kiss this. Take what they know all their lives, then give them a contract law book. Take what they know, then give them the word delegation authority. Take what they know and give them elections and appointments. They've seen it all their lives. Siblings. I'm going to tell mom. Why they say they want to tell mom? Well, who's mom? Who's mom to them? Why? All right. You took my toy. I'm going to tell mom. 3 years old. Why are they going to go tell mom? What do they have in their mind that they will say, I'm going to tell mom? Or tell dad? Like, what do they have in their mind that's cognizant? That mom has a certain level of authority, has more authority than their sibling. All right. A 9-year-old brother and the sister, 9-year-old brother, 5-year-old sister, 3-year-old sister. The parents say, Johnny, you're going to watch your sisters. That's delegation. Parents are delegating authority to the 9-year-old. The 3-year-old is the 5-year-old takes the 3-year-old toy. The 3-year-old goes to where? Go to what? Johnny, the 9-year-old. Why? Why? Why would the 3-year-old go to the 9-year-old to complain about the 5-year-old taking the toy? Like, what's in their mind? What understanding do they have? What understanding do they have? I think this is the most effective way of teaching this. Show them that they do know. They do have some, and it's not like we without knowledge. I disagree with that. Show how it's related. It's not talk over their head. Take their experience that they've seen they've spent all their lives, and show them how it relates to government. It does. We've seen it all our lives. We've never seen self-appointments. Why are we doing it? We've never seen it. Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Masonic orders, Eastern Star orders, Daughters ISIS, schools, jobs. We've never seen it. But we get involved in this Moorish movement, and for some reason, we deal with self-appointments. We didn't learn that from anywhere growing up. Oh, I think I know what's going on. They see how they can get over. They see how they can get over. Oh man, it's loose. I don't see any structure here. Yeah, I don't see any structure. I can get away with this. I can say I'm so and so, and I can get 5 people to give me $10 and 50 and 100, and I don't see any structure here. It's loose. I don't see any repercussions. There's no structure. But when I was in school growing up, that's structure. Home structure, mom is there, or dad, mom and dad, my brothers, and I'm the youngest. It's some structure, and I'll get my butt whipped, and all right, but nobody's gonna whip my butt. Nobody's gonna throw me in jail, or nobody's gonna whip my butt. I'm not gonna get beat up or anything. I can take the people's money, and I can do anything I want. I'm king of Morocco. I'm emperor of Morocco. I'm, and I'm not exaggerating. I've seen this for 27 years, but I've never seen it in schools that I went to, schools where I worked. I've never seen it. I've never seen it I've never anybody talked about it. I've never seen it in my fraternity, Alpha Alpha. I've never seen it in my daughter's schools. I'd never seen this. We do know. So, Shem, we don't need to say we need to teach this. The point I'm making is we already know it. We already know it. We already know it. They're doing it because they try to use this Moorish movement to get their bills and stuff paid and earn a living. Come on. We already know it. I'm talking about from a fundamental level. We all know it from a fundamental level. Anything that's advanced begins where? In the fundamentals. Any subject, any complex anything begins with the simple fundamentals. And I'm saying I'll stand on this. I'll use the word all this time. ALL. We all know it. We all have a fundamental base knowledge of government. We all have that. We don't know no self-appointments. We've not seen that. So let's take from what we do know and build on it. Why it's being done. Trying to take, advantage of people and set up, I'm king so-and-so. You also see this slick stuff. They get their cronies. 5 to 10 people that they know, and they vote them in as emperor, whatever, king, whatever, or grand sheik, whatever, or this, whatever, or emir, whoever, and say, I'm the emir. See, 5 people voted for me. I'm the emir of Morocco. Hold on. 5 out of 40 million. 5 or 10 out of 40 million, and you the what? You five. What? Hold on. It's almost 11:59. Lunchtime. 11:59. It's 11:59 a.m. A minute to lunch. You must be out of your mind to think that you are the emperor of Morocco out of out of 40 million. 40 million, you the emperor of Morocco, 5 people? 5 people say you the emperor of Morocco and you say the emperor of Morocco? Then we have this. See, I'm glad you gave me. I'm glad he dropped the mic and gave it to me. Yeah, I was sitting here, babe. Now, you have a body politic of 10 people, and they say they're the Moorish, whatever, Republic, National, whatever, Moroccan, whatever, Moroccan, Moorish, Federal, National, whatever, Confederate of whatever, Moroccan, whatever, 40 million. You the what? You the national Moorish government. 40 million. Hold on. I think there was a free open election. There was a nationwide free open election. There was a constitutional convention. You are what? You are what? Federal what? What federal? National what? Federal what? National what? Hold on. I know I sleep. And I was born in the morning, 7:25 on a Tuesday at that, 1968, April 10th. I was born in the morning, but not this morning. And I'm presenting it this way, just trying to just break it down, just make it plain, not trying to talk over your head, and because it's not all that complex, and just give you something that you already know. Make it plain. And this is what's been going on. My observation for us, 27 years. Over that time, got a few more, 5 or 10, get in the room. And they claim to be the federal whatever this of Morocco. Europeans, they're not even taking us seriously. I mean, we a joke, man. Yeah, I mean, these knuckleheads don't know they don't know what the hell they doing. They government, what? Please. Huh? We got to get our act together. We got to get our act together. We're a joke. We're a joke. We're a joke. We're vaudeville. Vaudeville. Please. Let's get serious. Please. So, political legitimacy. I'm going to pose the question. Shem, come up here, please. All right. We have a question. The question that we discussed, this question was raised while we were on our way to the headquarters this morning. Why do the Moors have a right to create government under our authority? Why do the Moors have a right to create government under our authority?
Why do the Moors have a right to claim government?
Let me read it again. Why do the Moors have a right to create government under our authority?
You assuming our authority means existing sovereignty of Morocco. That got to be defined when you say authority.
Well, this is the question that that I wrote down while on the way here. So then this is the question. Then you do that.
Right.
All right. Why do the Moors have a right to create government under our authority?
Well, the Moors have a right to. Our authority is the existing sovereignty that already existed, me under the flag, under the Moroccan flag. Excuse me. The sovereignty, the right that the Moors have under Moors consanguinity, first is an inherent claim. They have a right to claim their inherent claim to the land, estate, property, and water based on the existing, our authority means the existing sovereignty that Morocco had. That's our authority. Now, as a Moor of the descent of the Moors consanguinity of these people here on the continent of Morocco, Atlantis, Turtle Island, the descendants has a right, the kinsmanship descendants as heirs, has a right to band together, houses coming together, clans and tribes as a society, has a right to form government. Because can't nobody form the government form that's not, has been as a descent, kinsmanship, in the territory dominion of Morocco and one of the provinces of nations. Can't no other foreign nation come in with and claim that authority that already existed for you. This is the rights, excuse me, let me point to this again, so I'm gonna go back to this. To hand down inheritance to further descendants' kinsmanship as the heir. The Moors have a right to claim, which is our authority. Our authority is the existing sovereignty of Morocco under that flag, the Moroccan flag, which is on the website. Anytime when we look back like the Sokofa bird and return in the future, now, you look back so you can look back to guide yourself in your destiny of going forward, like making a longitude trip, a longitude and latitude. So this is the way that the descendants and kinsmen as the heirs can navigate on their own land. So our authority is the existing sovereignty, like Professor Abdullah say, it exists already. That's our authority. Your authority is not an individual saying, I'm gonna do this right here. I decide I'm gonna do this right here. That's his school of thought. That's not the existing sovereignty of Morocco. The existing sovereignty of Morocco is our authority. What are you talking about, Shem? Something that is left to us through a trust. What is the trust, Shem? The covenants, the ordinance of the seer, the Dauti, and also the statutes or structure of some form of social trust, which is a constitution or a charter that pre-exists, that protect the rights of his people. Next question. That's the question.
Yeah, that was a big question that we wanted to provide clarity for the listeners, the viewers this evening. All right.
So let me say something. I'm gonna express something. Our authority is not something a man did 90 or 100 years ago. Not something that his teacher taught him. In order for something to be your authority, it has to be a prehistoric, ancient tradition, festival, ceremonies, and rituals that's been set up to govern you on the land. If you lose the right to inherit something as a descendant in the kinsmanship, you're not operating under that authority. You don't have no authority. This is how you can lose when you can't hand down your wealth, your political science, your civics, and your structure. You in order to inherit something, in order for a man, if his father is an emperor and have so much wealth, in order for him to gain the wealth, hear me out, Morris, is he first in his head got to come to the knowledge that that's his mother and father. You hear me? If that man or woman don't come to the knowledge that this empress or this emperor is their father and mother, they can't get no inheritance. So when you take it upon yourself to usurp a delegated authority that is proven to positive law and jurisprudence to be set up by a government, and you're relying on that existing sovereignty, and you jump as an individual, or 15 of y'all come together individually and say, I signed, I voted for him, and claim that you are from your own temple, you from this temple right here, and y'all come together and say, we're going to do a continental convention, and it's 7 of us, and we're going to sign and give you the authority, and you're going to be the head grand sheik. And now what you're going to do is we're going to try to get everybody in Morocco to sign under this, what you just did. You can't do that. There's nowhere in the world. Nowhere. Listen to me. In Phoenicia, all of them living among themselves, but they all got different nations. They all got different nations. Ain't no France talking about, well, we all going to be British. We all Spain saying Spaniards, so we all gonna be French. Although they're from the same different houses that form communities, clans, tribes, societies, and came and wrapped it up into among themselves, separated. See, they separate among themselves. But one thing they did, they all was princesses, dukes, barons, earls, and counts. They all came together and realized that only one is gonna sit on the what? If it's 2 sitting on the throne, one still hold a superpower. They know that much. They don't disband among themselves like that. See, they know that the strength in controlling. How do you think the United States of America in forming the Jubilee until this day still able to maintain a structure? You can't. You're lying if you tell me they're not maintaining the structure. They are. It may be de facto, but it's a structure. How in the world are they able to do it? I can tell you how. Exactly like you say. The power, first of all, there's a logic and reason that stirs up fundamentally any man or woman like Abdullah say. They give them a common whereabouts of certain things. The common whereabouts of certain things. Now, when you root that out of someone, and it can be rooted out, they lose that fundamental right. They have it. It's there. I'm gonna give you an example. I seen it where a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old will go to someone older than them and say that somebody have done something in point. They probably can't communicate right, but they lead to that direction that they've been done wrong. What we have here is an injury, a self-afflicted blow within. A self-afflicted blow within. Now we are doing something that I believe is go back before more than 200 years. And I think this is my opinion, and I may be wrong. Based on my observation, people are under constant fear, intimidation. And this is real, man, because I'm speaking from, I was like that. I'm not going to lie. Even when Abdullah was teaching one day down in Philly, and he caught my attention, he woke me up. He opened a door that was closed, that never opened to me. In a way, when he did that, and I started reading, fear came on me. I'm a man. I'm keeping it real. What was the fear? What the hell I'm gonna do? How am I activate this? What I'm gonna do? Damn, is this real? Serious? This real? What I'm gonna do? So it put enough fear in me to stay at that courtroom after that. So our authority is the existence sovereignty of Morocco. Well, let me say this. This is not no hypothecated land. It's not no hypothecated land. This is the
If you cannot form question on the question that brought it forth in the chat, if you cannot form, you cannot form a government on a populated land, you have no power. You cannot form a government on a populated land, you have no power.
First of all, the land, when you use the word apothecated, you talk about blowed up, something that you consider as not being real. The land is real. The only thing that's not real, is the occupying sovereign making you believe that this is land and making you believe that the land is owned by foreigners. The land is not owned by nobody but blood alone. As a matter of fact, there was a law case in the World Court at Hague on land being owned by the Aboriginal indigenous who own it, the Aboriginal indigenous people or the occupying colonization European powers. And the European powers lost the case because they went back to the people consanguinity. That title under consanguinity could never be taken through war. And because the Aboriginal have not sold the land, there's nothing to say the Aboriginal sold their land. And even under that title, the Aboriginal indigenous people still reserve the right as landlords to the land. So that was already decided. So my answer to your question is, what you just asked already been decided in the World Court. The land is owned by the Aboriginal indigenous people. This is why Australia was setting Australia on fire. You remember that, Tamara? They were setting Australia on fire and blowing up the dams because they were I'm gonna show you how this binding that case is not just for over there, it's for here in Morocco. You notice after that happened, the United States corporations of the foreign European powers started spilling oil in the ocean, in the sea, and started doing what? Destroying the land. Right now in Arizona, the land is so messed up, Arizona having earthquakes and fire shooting out of the zinc gas mixed with the water. California is set on fire all the time. HARP. Yes, they are declaring war for you through the war manual under peace, under disguise of peace, under disguise of diplomacy, under disguise of the media, under disguise of the journalists. It's all designed as a peace war. Mean war, but act like you at peace with them. So yes, the indigenous Aboriginal people own the land as the landlords that were decided by the World Court. So it's not a populated land. Any more questions, Tamara? That's evidence. That's international, worldwide jurisprudence. Indigenous people, Aboriginal, are the owners and landlords of the land. In order to own land, it cannot be hypothecated, mean blowed up, fake. When you take a check and say I'm gonna hypothecate that means you building a image off the foundation. So in order for something to be hypothecated, it had to come from a real source. Yes, any more questions, Tamara? I hope I was any answer to the sister or brother question. And that was decided a couple of years ago. That was one in the world court. That's why they started burning up, destroying the land. People don't even see what's going on. They declare war on indigenous aboriginal people, and how they do it is they declare it against your land. They pollute your water and kill the wildlife. They put stuff in the water. They put stuff in the air, it's killing the wildlife. So now you can't have no livestock. So now if you want livestock now, you got to come to us to the farm grown. This is all war strategy. Next, I hope he learned something from this. I didn't want to go into that, but he asked that question. I mean, she asked that question. I'm sorry. Well, I say he or she before. I said that before. Anyone else, Tamara? So, the bottom line is, subconsciously, and I said it to Abdullah many times inside the Dunkin' Donuts. I said, Abdullah, how fast, if you raise a man in a country, in a small little community where he see no parts of the world, and he get mature up to the age of 18 years old, and you bring him to the city, Abdullah, if he step out in the street and see a bus coming and they get ready to collide to him, how long do it take for him to get out the way of danger? So there's a fundamental what?
A second.
So there's a fundamental what?
Survival. It's the principles of survival. And instincts.
See that? That's a fundamental, something that you can't take away from a man. It's called instincts, or woman. Especially a woman. A woman picks up on it faster than a man because she have children. And it's a woman's job to raise the children. So the urge and the force is in her more than it is with a man. Because I told you her body's different, it's strung out in a different cycle. She has the children, so it's different than a man. So even a man, I don't care who he is, if he driving a vehicle and he said, you know what? Why do these people go up this way and go down this way? And every time I notice they go that way, I see them, they get there 15 minutes before me. Nobody has to tell him, just by seeing. He realized and comprehends a fundamental thought. Oh, I'm going to go that way because I can get there faster, right or wrong? The Moors are being brainwashed and doctrinized. Here is their way out beyond teaching by the Moors. Watch the Albions and what they do to maintain control, to keep their descents and heirs kinsmanship with confidence in a mindset to over and over again to run, to want to vote, want to be a part of something their descendants created. And to keep you not able to rise above them in numbers, far as voting, and far as who want to have the elected seats. Cut and dry. If you watch that, you say, wait a minute. No, when I was 10 years old, they're still doing the same thing. I'm 70 now. They're still advertising. They're still educating. Well, that's the reason why you coming back. They claim.
All right, we have here a question. Statement: the Moors do not have an army, so therefore, how can we have a government? The Moors do not have an army, therefore, how can we have a government? I've heard that many times over the past 27 years. All right, so that's out there. Let's address that.
We have protection. The only thing we have to do is claim it. And what I mean is this right here. Your ability to come together and make a claim is your military. Because when you come together and make that claim and band together, you just will have to know how to claim the existing authority, the existing sovereignty as your authority. Then the first thing to establish in the military is establish a diplomatic tie to the sovereign powers that sign on treaties with that existing sovereignty, Morocco. When you get to them, it's already arranged in the international law and in the treaty that they obligated to protect you. Now, I'm not, anybody say, I don't need nobody to protect me, you're lying. Your children need you to protect them. Your wife needs you to protect them, so stop lying. Everybody needs somebody to protect them. What I'm gonna do with my daughter? If a man try to hurt my daughter, I'm gonna call 911 and say, please hurry up, he's gonna kill her. He's gonna have to kill me too. So who is her military? Her daddy and her mother. Because we are their first protector. That's a charge that's given to us through nature and divinity. Now, you saying, where's the existing army at? You know what it is? It's us. We the military. How do we enforce the military? By coming black and going under that existing sovereignty and not having knowledge and wisdom to do diplomatic relationships to go to the foreign powers that sign these ancient treaties and say, under the treaty, we need you to assist us based on Article so-and-so because our military is weak. As a matter of fact, that was the United Nations created the Hague for. Is the World Court to protect indigenous and the Aboriginal people that didn't have an army of a large magnitude, and the other parties had a bigger army and kept them from coming and taking away their land, their rights. So your army is you. It starts with your house. In your house, if you're a man or woman, you know you ain't gonna come in there and let me rape your children, or you a man, you know you're gonna let me rape your wife, or you a woman, you know you're gonna be coming to kidnap your children. So what's the first protector in nature and culture? You. The military are men and women. Military strategy is knowing your ability, having the ability to fight, like Han Su say. You have to know who your enemy is. Then you have to know how to fight your enemy. And what's the weapons your enemy going to use against you? That's a book written on that. See, Moors, please, don't let nobody root your confidence out you like that. They say, oh, because we ain't got a military, oh, man, they're going to kill us. Moors, come on now. Then you know what's happened? You don't usually surrender your children and your woman when you think like that, the men. And the women that think that way, you don't surrender your children. Because the first protector in nature is you, the house. I rest my case on that one. Any more questions?
Any more questions, Tamara?
Okay, Abdullah, you get back to use that website.
Yes, we're going to go to the website. All right, the timeline of events, the United Republic of Morocco.com, timeline of events. We have here on November 7th, 2020, at the grand opening here at the headquarters. The United Republic of Morocco is the assembly vehicle used to navigate the various Moorish body politics, states, into one interpolitical central body, restoring our Moroccan imperial government structure and therefore positioning ourselves politically to function the sovereign power once controlled by the Moroccan Moorish emperors. That was step one. Step two, census registration. The Moroccan Moorish census is the establishment of a Moorish permanent population for the restoration of the Moroccan Moorish government, whereas the United States Census is the maintaining of a permanent population which has been taking the Aboriginal, Native, and Indigenous Moors from their sovereign jurisdiction of Morocco since 1790 and pledging them as collateral for funding from the international community, loans, and futures from other nations. Step three, Moorish body, register your census. Register your census. UnitedRepublicOfMorocco.com. Register your census. We have step 3, Moorish body politic and individual registration. We the people, the Imperial Parliament Council of United Republic of Morocco is the assembly vehicle used to navigate the various Moorish body politic states into one interpolitical central governing body for the restoration of our Moroccan imperial government structure and therefore to position ourselves politically so as to exercise the sovereign power once controlled by the former Moorish emperors, sultans, beys, deys, caliphs, emirs, pashas, bashaws, and grand viziers pursuant to the previous structure of the ancient government's operations. Register your body politic. We have the meet and greet on March 24th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and thereafter we'll be meeting every Wednesday for a period of several months as we will have meetings as well and educational sessions dealing with the principles of government, diplomacy, and we will help facilitate structure, government structure, open elections, parliamentary procedures, flag seal, constitution, dealing with public relations in your community, reaching out, community outreach, all right? Permanent is helping to help facilitate the establishment of permanent population in your Moorish provincial, your provinces. Yes, so register your Moorish body politics, step 3. Step 4, body politics, individual form submission. The Moorish body politics are the free societies in their own Moorish land joining together to form an alliance amongst ourselves collectively with commandments, obligations, stipulations, judgments, and liabilities to limit the delegated power of the officials elected by the people of varying Moorish societies, communities, clans, tribes. The following documents for submissions are 1, Moorish Provincial Constitution, bylaws. 2, flag. 3, seal. All right. Step 5, weekly Moorish provincial government meetings. All right. Starting with the meet and greet, Wednesday, March 24th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be every Wednesday. All right. So this is step 5, weekly Moorish provincial government meetings. United Republic of Morocco will schedule a series of online conference meetings 3 to 6 months that will aid in facilitating the national political unity of the various Moorish body politics in a central governing government body. The outline conference calls will consist review, completion of Moorish body politics formation, 2, review, understanding of treaty enforcement, 3, consular jurisdiction, 4, review, revise Moorish Treaty of Amity and Commerce for National Convention. All right. See you on March 24th via Zoom or here at the headquarters. All right. So we did that already. We have step 6, Moorish treaty signing. Whereas the Imperial Parliament Council of United Republic of Morocco and the various Moorish body politics have determined to enter into an alliance on a permanent basis through amity and commerce which prevails between the contracting parties by a treaty which shall designate with precision the protection of security for our respective lands, air, waters, and boundaries bordering the land of Morocco known as Turtle Island and Atlantis within the northwest and south Southern Hemisphere, with United Republic Morocco as the national representative for their international interests and affairs. Step 7, international process server. The various Moorish body politics do now create and form the United Republic of Morocco as the central government body to now proclaim our international statehood in the eyes and hearing of the whole world of recognized nations to unite in a common effort to bring our people accelerated political economic progress and broader social justice within the framework of personal dignity and political liberty by depositing our instruments of treaty signature power in the Organization of American States, League of Nations, and United Nations. All right. So this is a plan of action, which began, you see, with step 1 with the grand opening on November 7th. So we're definitely looking forward to seeing you either here at the headquarters or via Zoom on Wednesday, March 24th, and every Wednesday thereafter for a period of 3 to 6 months. Right. Thank you. So we have, now I want to look at the regional organized crime page. The regional organized crime page, there is a report. The Regional Organized Crime Information Center Special Research Report. Moorish Nation, Sovereign Citizen Movement. So this is the reports on here. What is the biggest problem in this Moorish movement? Lack of clarity and misunderstanding, misconceptions. I've addressed a lot of those last night, and we've just, a few of those this evening. Article by illustrious Joaquin Bey and Abdullah Iltimosi Bey. And so you go to the article, click on, and you see the article here. U.S. violates treaties in defamation of Morocco. United States violates treaties in defamation of Morocco, Moorish Nation, as sovereign citizen movement. Members of United Republic of Morocco, that's the illustrious Joaquin Bey and Abdullah Iltimosi Bey, to join, right here. This report is a breach of peace of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship between His Imperial Majesty and the Emperor, Majesty of Morocco, and the United States, 1787. Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, defines Treaty of Peace as an agreement or contract made by belligerent powers in which they agree to lay down their arms and by which they stipulate the conditions of peace and regulate the manner in which it is to be restored and supported. According to United States versus Reed, a treaty is not only a law, but also a contract between two nations and must, if possible, be so construed as to give full force and effect to all its parts. Principal duties of the Attorney General of the United States are to supervise and direct the administration and operation of the offices, boards, divisions, and bureaus that comprise the department. The Attorney General has a responsibility to make sure a report of this magnitude, which violates treaties, do not happen under his watch. The Supremacy Clause in Article 6, Section 2 of the United States Constitution states that treaties are the law of the land. The Attorney General has constructed notice of the existence of these treaties. This hostile and damaging report was disseminated by the Regional Organized Crime Information Center Special Research Report, Moorish Nation Sovereign Citizen Movement. This treaty violating report was prepared under the leadership, guidance, and funding of the Bureau of Justice Assistance, Office of Justice Programs, U.S. Department of Justice, in collaboration with the Regional Organized Crime Information Center in 2009. This treaty violation perpetuated by the United States. This treaty violating report makes the presumption and assumption that Morocco, Moorish nation, is a black identity extremist, domestic terrorist, anti-government group, and that the Moors are citizens of the United States, anti-government, domestic terrorists, and black identity extremists. Furthermore, the report classifies our Moorish national identification card as fraudulent, invalid, and criminal forms of identification, and absolutely a clear breach of the treaties. Article 21 of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship between His Imperial Majesty and the United States, 1787, clearly distinguishes the difference between a Moor and a United States citizen. Article 21. If a citizen of the United States should kill or wound a Moor, or on the contrary, if a Moor shall kill or wound a citizen of the United States, the law of the country shall take place and equal justice shall be rendered. The consul assisting at the trial, and if any delinquent shall make his escape, the consul shall not be answerable for him in any manner whatsoever. Whereas the Moorish Americans are the descendants, all right, according to the Illinois General Assembly, H.R. 0689, resolved by the House of Representatives of the 97th General Assembly of the State of Illinois, states the following. While whereas the Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, Hamites, and the Canaanites who were permitted by the old pharaohs of Kemet to traverse from East Africa and later formed themselves kingdoms extending from the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa, the Atlantic islands, and on to the present day continental Americas. And whereas the indigenous Moorish peoples of the Americas are now united in order to again link themselves with the family of nations. Whereas the Moorish Americans, being aboriginal to the territories of North America, Central, South Americas, has formed a sovereign theocratic government guided by the command principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice through virtue of the universal right to self-determination, as well as with the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, chartered, guaranteed in the Charter. All right. So whereas on January 8th, 1886, Noble Jolly was born in the state of North Carolina, is destined to become the first patriarch of his mentally enslaved Moorish American people. In 1912, he was anointed the Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali by the leaders of Egypt and the holy city of Mecca to return to the United States. The HR 0689-2 LRB 097-16344 GRL 61607R as the last prophet and founding father of the newly risen Moorish nation of Moorish Americans. As a result of the 13th Amendment, Moorish people were emancipated from slavery in 1865. So this is all of these violations are a breach of peace in the treaties. These are also violations of international law and customary international law. These are acts of war and should be treated as such through diplomatic channels involving the United Nations and real government to government intercourse. The report is a breach of the following treaties: the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1786, 1836, made between this Imperial Majesty of Morocco and the United States; J Treaty, 1795, Treaty with the Lenape Moors, Delaware Indians, and the United States, 1778; Bay of Tripoli and the United States Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1796; the Treaty of Ghent, 1814; General Treaty between Morocco and Great Britain, 1856; The day of Algiers Treaty of Peace and Amity signed November 4th, 1796, and put into effect on June 10th, 1797 by the United States Senate. Right of protection in Morocco, ratified by the United States May 10th, 1881. In culmination, the, the form of gratitude given by the United States to the nation it has multiple treaties with. Here's yet more defiling excerpts from the Federal Bureau of Investigation on the term they invented called sovereign citizen. The Department of Justice Federal Bureau of Investigation Counter-Terrorist Division defines sovereign citizens, anti-government, domestic terrorists, paper terrorists. The treaties do not delegate authority to the United States to investigate Moors and to classify Moors as domestic terrorists, anti-government, black identity extremists. Other aspersive reports include the FBI considers sovereign citizen extremists as comprising a domestic terrorist movement. Today, we look at a third threat, the sovereign citizen extremist movement. Sovereign citizens are anti government extremists who believe that even though they physically reside in this country, they are a separate or sovereign from the United States. As a result, they believe they don't have to answer to any government authority, including courts, taxing authority, entities, motor vehicle departments, or law enforcement. This causes all kinds of problems and crimes. For example, many sovereign citizens don't pay their taxes. They hold illegitimate courts that issue warrants for judges and police officers. They clog up the court system with frivolous lawsuits and liens against public officials to harass them. And they use fake money orders, personal checks, and the like at government agencies, banks, and businesses. These libel media reports are a breach of the peace established through treaties. All right. So here for books on Moorish history, science, and culture, go to moorsandmasonry.org, Moors and Masonry, How Her Venus and Moon Rule, Masonic Compass Square, and the connection to measurement and timekeeping, etymology and vocabulary, Illuminati and illumination of the mind, ancient musical scale, pineal gland, melanin, DNA, and cellular memory. All right. So we wanted to this didn't want to just put this report without putting out an article there. All right, to put it in the context that there's indeed a breach. So we need our political unity. All right. So you can go to the website. Once again, it's the regional organized crime page. It's the regional organized crime page on the United Republic of Morocco's website. All right. So this is a very good website, well put together. You know, Isel and Terrence and Tamara done a wonderful job with this website. We have here frequently asked questions. Frequently asked questions is very educational page. Frequently asked questions here. All right, the meet and greet letter. All right. Moorish Body Politics page. The meet and greet letter. All right, body politics. Welcome. All right, yes. We have the Moorish Imperial Restoration Caucus, RSVP, and body politics survey questions. Welcome to the first open invitation of a formal meet and greet conference for all peoples of the Americas known by various names: blacks, black, Negro, colored, African Americans, Latino, Indian, Hispanic, and such. We are often told not to talk politics nor religion, to be politically correct whilst conversing with other people outside of our families, of our friends and family. We, the Moors, now agree that we must do just that. Talk about our long forgotten nation, its aboriginal inhabitants, and these forgotten heirs. The Moroccan Empire, in its vast greatness across land masses of the world, seems so that history only graces the pages of those well hidden and sacred books. We have always been here on Turtle Island. As nature has evolved, ancestors returned. We've awakened into that Christ mind to challenge the current times. Therefore, we rise up with determined voices through the ages, exerting our sovereignty, just cogence and postmillennium, and our preemptory rights of divinity, nationality, and heirship. We open our heart and bosom to the family of nations from which our sovereignty has been usurped and our government is dismantled. The illustrious meet and greet conference is to help kick off the facilitation of our national political unity per reversion of sovereignty. Our very survival depends on each other's diverse yet cooperative communication for the goal of national unity and international recognition. This brief survey is to help us better communicate about our organization's mission statement and vision for the future. We invite you to attend the national meet and greet to help restore our grand central government. Take our survey. All right, you see the survey, More Imperial Restoration Caucus. This brief survey is to help us better communicate about our organization's mission statement and vision for the future. We invite you to attend the national meet and greet to help restore our Moorish Grand Central Government. What is the name of your organization? Who is the elected leader or top official of your group by the people's vote? What is your religious affiliation? Give a Number 4, give a brief statement about your organization's mission statement. Number 5, does your organization have a constitution and bylaws? Number 6, do your members and leaders identify with a nationality? Number 7, have you visited the website for the United Republic of Morocco? 8, do you identify with the national unity approach for establishing the citizen's birthright? 9, what is the main issue of your own organization and its members? 10, do you see the unity concepts shared by the United Republic of Morocco and various groups, body politics, as helpful and potentially promising for a nation of people mislabeled and viewed as stateless or having no standing at law? 11, could you see your group contributing support and helping to wake up fallen humanity now that we have a glimpse of the goal for national unity, which is foundational to nations of the earth, recognizing the people of America, Mexim? 12, could you commit to joining us for the meet and greet in Wilmington, Delaware, via Zoom or in person? This is excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Well put together. March 24th, Wednesday, March 24th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Wednesdays thereafter for the period of 3 to 6 months. All right? So definitely looking forward to seeing you in the house via Zoom or here at the headquarters. You have any other words, Shem?
I'm just happy that I'm a part of this. I'm happy that I had an opportunity to run into the first man that I say my teacher. I have to say that because that's the man that brought me to the knowledge of Moore's inheritance and etymology, epistemology, how to speak and think, and dealing with language. I'm glad that I ran into Noble Tamara, and I'm glad that we decided to come together and teach others that wasn't fully educated on a level that we was being awakening. So I'm glad to be here, not being selfish. I can say that this was not put together by individualism. Anyone, please listen to me. This was put together by us coming together as a group, forming a society and forming an ecclesiastic society. And when we formed the ecclesiastic society, then we knew that in this ecclesiastic society, we can't come and claim the existence sovereignty of Morocco. We only can claim to be a part of that with our kinsmanship descent, brothers and sisters, nobles and lords, that claim that existence sovereignty. So as you can see, no one can accuse us as being individualistic. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to point to a dominant fact. We know how to descend to The Hague. We know how to deal with the organization, American States. We know how to have a diplomatic relationship. We sacrificing not to go there, but knowing that the existence sovereignty is not just for our ecclesiastic society, it's for everybody. Like Professor Abdul say, what is a handful of 100 or a million people coming together forming a society and got 25 million people out there all scattered all over the whole continent in Morocco, and then you go there and claim the existence sovereignty, where that leaves them at. Then you're going to tell them, you got to come to me if you want something. I got there first. You're a fraud. You're a fraud. And you selfish, and you know it. If it's not one of y'all, if it's 100,000 y'all, you know you're selfish. You're no different than the Albion colonial powers stripping the people because you only doing it because you know if they have to deal with you to get their freedom, then they still in servitude because they don't have the free right to determine their own government affairs. And they don't have a right to determine their destiny. As a matter of fact, they really don't have a right to even hand down a legacy to the descendants, kinsmanship, because you deprive them of that, because you decide that all of them is not important. It's just me and us. That's how we got in this condition we're in now, selfish. So I'm glad to be a part of something that's excluding everybody. It's including everybody that think Morocco making a claim that want the inheritance that belongs to them. I'll never see. You see right now today, people have a fundamental right to argue over their mother and father inheritance. And damn, you telling me you're going to let somebody have all this land and stuff, and you ain't going to claim it. You got the courage to claim something under a colorable title, and you ain't got the courage to claim something under a Lodian title. That's why you got to be taught. The difference between a Lodian, that's what we got to teach that, nobles. The difference between a Lodian heirship title and the difference between a colorable title. You got to teach that. There's a title of a landlord under feudalist law. You know about this. It's chief. See, this is what they practice, is chief law. They're still in the estate, the birthright, the theft, birthright theft. So this is why I'm glad to be here, because I want to be someone that said, hey, that's enough. Not by war, by nutrition of the mind on paper. The war is on paper and thinking. And that's what I'm glad to be a part of. Anything else you got, nobles?
Well, this has been very illuminating. This is Christ-like. All right. It's been great to speak to my Christian brothers and sisters. The Karas, as the Karas is in them. And so the karas is being stimulated. The illuminated ones. We have to recognize they are the Illuminati, not some group of Europe Albions trying to take over the rap industry or the go the world and using the all seeing eye and the Illuminati take over the rap industry and they have these blood sacrifices. The Illuminati, we're the Illuminati. Those who are enlightened. So my Illuminati brothers and sisters, my Christian brothers and sisters, my Jew Daudi brothers and sisters, my Buddhists, the enlightened ones, my Buddhist brothers and sisters. I love you all. I'll see you on. Oh yes. Oh, see, that's why she's. That's why she's good. That's why she's good. That's why. Hey. All right, she got on screen. All right, here we go. Here we go, y'all. We got upcoming on April 17th to July 3rd, Saturday, April 17th to Saturday, July 3rd, for 12 from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You see in front of you, we have our course, a Sir George 201. This is the part 2 of the Sir George course, broken down to 2 parts. Part 1 deals with the national remedy. All right, weeks 1 and 2 deals with constitutional governmental principles. Weeks 3 to 5, treaty protections, treaty rights. And then weeks 6 to 12 will deal with individual remedies, filing, how to structure case, how to file and serve case, summary judgments, how to read law case, so those are some of the areas, we're dealing with, how to structure summary judgments, how to serve that. All right. We also have the corporation soul. Week 12 will be corporation soul. Right. So this deals with individual remedies. So we have 2 parts: national remedy. Then we have the individual remedies. Because if people have issues now. All right. So we're aware of that. That was brought up last night. But when we meet on the 24th and every Wednesday thereafter, this is national remedy. Not individual remedy. We will not be addressing individual remedies at the meet and greet and thereafter. When we meet with the body politics, this is national remedy. Facilitating reversion to sovereignty, regaining recognition in the international community, restoring or reestablishing diplomacy with the treaty nations. All right, so that would be national remedy, reversion to sovereignty, post-millennium will be the issue when we deal with the body politics, and actually helping to facilitate government structure and political legitimacy among the various body politics. All right, so looking forward to also seeing you on April 17th to George class 201. All right. So you go to UnitedRepublicOfMorocco.com, click on Academy of Providence. UnitedRepublicOfMorocco.com, click on Academy of Providence to register now for the class, the course, 12-week course. All right. That'll be at 12 p.m., 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, looking forward to seeing you there. So we have March 24th. I'll see you March 24th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as April 17th, all right, on Saturdays, all right, for 12 consecutive weeks on 12 p.m. to Eastern and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you again, my Christian brothers and sisters, my Illuminati, my snakes. I love my snakes here. I love my Christian brothers and sisters, my Daudi, my Jewish brothers and my Jews, and I'm doing that because we have to demystify these words, reclaim them, all right, and place them in its proper knowing, higher knowing perspectives. All right. So the so will we anything else you want to any other announcements that need to be made? Anything we need to say, Shem? Finish up. All right. So thank you again. Once again, to get my books, you go to mooresandmasonry.com, mooresandmasonry.com to get Moors and Masonry, the Illuminati, Illumination of the Mind, how our Venus and Rule Moon, the Masonic Compass Square, the connection of measuring the timekeeping. Also, coming your way soon, Moors and Masonry Part 2, fall of 2021. Long awaited. They waited long for Moors and Masonry. Now, Moors and Masonry Part 2, coming your way soon, fall of 2021. Moors and Masonry Part 2. All right, thank you again. Peace. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Akeem and Brother Mard, who's been with us today.